guys, what's going on? Jay the Reporter coming at you once again. And you guys know what time it is. It's Saturday. It's time for me to do what? My Against the Spread picks. So here it is for week 9. So as always, we hop right into it. But I just want to address something. Last week was a terrible week for me. It's my first week severely under 500, going 4-9. I mean, it was just a bad week, but I'm not going to harp on that. This week's picks seem to be a little bit easier to make. So I'm going to go ahead and build that lead back up because, I got a goal, 100 wins by the end of the season. I'm at 58 so far, so let's go ahead and see how much closer I can get to that goal of 100. And if I happen to meet it too early, I'll reset another goal that's a little bit more attainable, but to kind of stretch it out a bit. So in this case, it's a positive moving of the goalpost. Now, first game up on the docket, not necessarily on the slate of games, but it's the first one when I looked them up. Of course, it'll be Pittsburgh, Dallas. And the spread being 14.5. Now, I'm a little iffy on this because Pittsburgh typically almost never covers the spread away from home. It's always been a little bit rougher. They're not really a good take. They let teams crawl back into the game. But the thing is that those teams that kind of crawl back into the game, those are teams that are worth their salt outside of Philly. But Philly is just hurt. They're still a good football team after you unwrap all those injuries. But we're talking the Titans and the Ravens for the most part. Well, the two games where it's like, okay, they covered, but it was a little rougher. And this one, the spread being 14.5 and Dallas' offense being absolutely abysmal. They haven't scored a touchdown since their last win. That's how bad this has been. Like, it's been dreadful. Take Pittsburgh against the spread in this one. I'm apprehensive, but I'm going to roll with my gut. Take Pittsburgh against the spread. Next game, Atlanta, Denver, spread -4. I'm going to take Atlanta against the spread in this one. And it's mainly because I see Atlanta kind of turning that corner. They couldn't get it right early in the year. Things started not to build their way. They still may not make the playoffs. But they're starting to turn that corner that can help kind of guide them back into the winner's circle, so to say. And I think they can do that against Denver, who, even though they did have a really good game last week, I don't see that happening against Atlanta as much as it was earlier in the year. Now, had this game been like week 3 or 4, I definitely would have taken Denver. But given the fact that Atlanta has righted the ship, I'm taking the Falcons on this one. Dirty Birds, don't let me down. Next up, Seahawks, Bills. And I'm going to be honest, I had a tough time picking this one. The Seahawks haven't covered a lot this year, but the spread being just 3 points, and the Bills being a team that I'm not sure how good they are, how bad they are. I know they're the best team in your division, but honestly, that's not saying much when you have the Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets in your division. That's not saying much. The Patriots need a full rebuild. Bill Belichick knows that. We all know that now. The Dolphins are building towards something, but we still don't know what you're going to get out of Tua. Not really the best performance in last week. And then, of course, the Jets are exactly what we thought they were, a flaming dumpster fire. So, with this being the case, I'm taking the Seahawks against the spread since it's just 3. But if the Bills want to be taken seriously as contenders, they need to win this game. It's paramount they win this game. So, even though I'm saying that about the Bills, I'm still taking the Seahawks. Next game up, Bears, Titans. And for various reasons, I'm taking the Bears plus 6.5 in this one. And the reason for that is the Bears have covered. They've played well against better teams. They played well against the Broncos. They played well against the Buccaneers. They played well against the Saints. They played good enough to win both of those games. The Titans have lost games, the last 2, one being to a pretty woeful Cincinnati ball club. They are starting to show signs that this is going to be a team to be reckoned with over the next few years, but they're not there yet. So that was a gimme game for the Titans, especially coming off of a disappointing loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm not sure exactly why Vegas is saying give the Titans 6.5. I mean, to take 6.5 away from the Titans, but honestly, I believe in the last couple of weeks, the Bears have been playing better football, at least in more winning efforts and winning those tighter contests. So that kind of does build a little bit of grit about your football team. And going into it, I really like the Bears defense against the Titans offense, more so than I like the Titans defense against the Bears offense. So with that being the case, I'm taking the Bears plus 6.5, just giving me a little bit too much of an incentive to not take Chicago in this one. So next up is going to be what we call an even game or a push game. So in this one, you pick the winner. Now, oddly enough, there's 2 of those on the schedule this week, and then there's another one where we'll get to a little bit later on, is Ravens-Colts. So in this one, you got to pick a winner, and I'm going to go with the Ravens. This is one game I hope I get wrong, and it's for all the most selfish reasons. I really hope I get that wrong. But with this being the case, I really do like the Ravens in this matchup. I think Lamar Jackson's not going to have that big of a letdown game that he had last week. In this game, I don't see that happening. And then the Colts, they're high, they're low. They're probably going to win their division. They're in a dogfight with Tennessee, but they need to win this in order to do it. But in this one, I just think the Ravens have a little bit too much to lose by losing. So I'm going to take the Ravens over the Colts in this one. It's just how I see that shaking out. Next game up, Panthers, Chiefs. The spread minus 10.5. This game, easier to pick for me. They're bringing C-Mac is supposed to be playing on Sunday. He's supposed to be playing. We're going to see how they if they bring him back full force or they try to wean him a little bit, trying to ease him back into the flow of things, because Mike Davis has been playing pretty good football. The Panthers have been playing good football without C-Mac. Not saying they don't need him, but just saying I do like what I see. So bringing C-Mac back does give them a little bit more range offensively, but I don't think it gives them the range enough to be close to the Chiefs. And on top of that, I think the Chiefs defense can hold off this Panthers O. So with that being the case, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think this game's going to be closer than many Kansas City fans may like, but I will take Kansas City minus 10.5. Next game didn't even have a spread. So you guys know the rule. I stated it in the previous video. When a game doesn't have a spread, I give one. And if the spread given, if they don't have a spread by the time this game kicks off on Sunday, I roll with that. If they have one by then, I roll with what they give. So the spread I'm going to give in this game is going to be Vikings minus 4. And the reason for that is the Vikings showed that they now know what it's going to take for them to win and then dominate in their division. They need to run the ball. They started to get away from it. They said, you know what? We're not throwing the ball well. We're not giving Kirk enough time to really see what's progressing down the field, and it's leading to turnovers. Well, if that's the case, how do you reset that? You get your offensive line aggressive, and you run with the football. That's what they're doing, and they did it so well against the Packers. Now, granted, almost anyone could probably run on Green Bay, and I do see they probably noticed that. That's why Dalvin Cook dropped a good 44 for me in one fantasy league. Too bad I couldn't get him in both, because I think the other one was like 60-something, but that's beside the point. Outstanding game out of Dalvin Cook. I'm expecting more of the same here against the Lions, so I'm going to take the Vikings against the spread in this one. It's just how that works. Next game, Giants, Washington, and this game is always going to be the toughest one to pick, because with this team, the way I view them, they're trying their best. The Giants are trying their best to build with Daniel Jones and see what they can get out of Daniel Jones. I just don't see them building everything around him the way that most people would see. And with that being the case, I'm going to take Washington in this one. They're just a little more balanced. I like what I see defensively. To me, they have the best defense in their division. The Washington football team has the best defense in their division. Now, that's maybe not saying too much, but that's a real defense in Washington. So I'm going to take them against the spread in this one, only because I think they can actually outlast what the Giants can actually put forth offensively. Next game, Texans, Jags. Line is minus 7 against the Texans, and I'm going to take that. I think the Jags, they're out there trying to play fun football. They want to win, but they don't want to win. It's like the coaching staffs of both these teams kind of want to win, but I'm going to lean more toward the Texans on this one. I just really like what I'm seeing out of that. The team, I think they can kind of get the ball rolling, and against the Jaguars, it'll be the perfect time to really get that rolling. I just don't really like what I'm seeing out of Jacksonville. They looked fun in the first couple of weeks, but fun doesn't translate to wins. Next game up, Raiders, Chargers. Same thing as earlier. This is an even match. Even. So with that being the case, I'm taking the Raiders. If I had to pick a winner, I'm going to take the Raiders. Just because the Chargers, they can put it together, but not well enough to win games. Like, this Chargers team should have about 4 or 5 wins, but they're a year or two away from being able to really put forth and win those games. The games that they lost against the Chiefs, the one a week ago when they lost to the Broncos, those are games that with more experienced teams, more experienced quarterback play, you win. I love what I see out of Justin Herbert, but Derek Carr's been there before. He's made the postseason, and I really like what him and Chucky have going on there. It's working. It's working. Regardless of what people say, it is working. Dolphins Cards is the next matchup. I'm taking the Cardinals minus 4.5. I just see that being, I see this game being that welcome to the NFL game for Tua. He really didn't get that moment in last week's game, mainly because their defense played so well. But I don't see that defense doing this week what it did last week. This Cardinals offense is legit. They are legit. You take that team, you run with it. Next game up, Bucks Saints. I think the Bucks can win this game, but I don't trust what I saw after Monday night against the Giants. I really do believe the Saints have what it takes to beat this team twice in the regular season. I know in my predictions video for the NFC South, I said they would split. I still think it's a possibility of that. So since I do see this game more than likely being competitive, I think the Saints can pull it off. But since I think they're going to pull it off and you want to give me 4.5, I'm going to take 4.5. So I'm taking 4.5 points here with the Saints. Taking Saints with the points. Last matchup is the most disappointing Monday Night Football game in my recent memory. I mean, well, not recent memory because that Cowboy-Eagles game was, I mean, the game itself was entertaining because it's just the Eagles, it's the matchup, the history. But the next matchup I'm going to look at here is going to be Patriots-Jets. Patriots-Jets, I just can't take the Jets. The Jets are entering Cowboyish territory with me. Well, not enter, they are Cowboyish territory with me. I will not take them unless I absolutely feel certain they can win it. And I'm going to roll with the Patriots -8 for that. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Also, don't forget, guys, like, share, comment, and subscribe. We are this close to 1,000. See, that close, right here. It's that close. We're that close. We're so close, guys. So tell a friend to tell a friend. We're so close. But my name is Jay the Reporter, signing out. Peace.